It is indeed a great pleasure as well as an honor to be here participating in this very session on a very important theme. Uh, but as done by Dr. Mashelkar before, at the very outset, let me commend my young and dynamic friend, Sri Rahul Karad, and the guiding spirit behind this conference, his father, Professor Vishwanath Karad, for taking this wonderful initiative and organizing uh, this first ever National Legislators Conference and organizing it so well. Without any further ado, let me straight away come to the theme of the session: embracing technology for economic welfare. And I'm going to go by, to a large extent, I'm going to go by the questions which were raised in the beginning, and I'm going to stick with that, and I will try to respond to some of those questions which were very thoughtfully circulated to all of us. To my mind, economic welfare is a necessary but not a sufficient condition for achieving social justice. I'm sure the distinguished legislators assembled here are concerned not merely with economic welfare, but they are committed to a broader and inclusive economic welfare, namely economic welfare with social justice. That is what the theme song, one of the theme of Dr. Mashelkar, distinguishing between India and Bharat. I therefore propose to share some thoughts with you on embracing technology not only for economic welfare, but economic welfare and social justice. My thoughts today are organized in terms of 4 or 5 issues. First, I'll start with the precise meaning of the technology in the current context. Then, I will talk about the issue raised: is the emerging technology a panacea to ensure economic growth, or will it lead to jobless growth? And the third point that I will be covering is the emerging technology going to reduce or aggravate the economic inequalities which are prevalent in our country? The fourth issue that I will be taking up is: how can states formulate a tech driven socio-economic agenda? And in that context, is digital illiteracy a major obstacle? If so, what can be done about it? And finally, if the time permits, and I find it very difficult to cover all that in 15 minutes, but I will go rapid fire. If the time permits, or I leave it for the final discussion, the issue of the cyber security that you very thoughtfully had raised. Uh, first, first thing first, the world is currently going through an industrial revolution 4.0, fourth industrial revolution. As we all know, the first industrial revolution took place in 18th century, which was spurred on by steam engines. Second industrial revolution took place in 19th century, and that was brought on by the invention of electricity. The third industrial revolution that happened in 20th century around 1980, engendered by information technology. And fourth one, which is the ongoing industrial revolution, has been brought about not by a single factor, but confluence of several technologies. They have all come together, and these includes, as most of us know, AI, that is artificial intelligence and machine learning, big data, data analytics, automated technology, robotics, Internet of Things, uh, additive manufacturing, 3D printing and augmented reality, and finally, the most important one probably, the blockchain technology. So, the Industrial Revolution 4.0 is a post digital revolution fusion technology. And that is what I call it new age technology. The next point is the new age technology and economic growth. There is a strong connect, and it's very obvious that there is a very positive impact of new age technology on economic growth. And how does it happen? It happens through increase in productivity. It has been estimated by several studies have gone into this, but there was one influential study of 2018 which suggested that the productivity growth would be 1.2% per year with artificial intelligence alone. You put together other components of the new age technology, and the productivity growth would be even higher. And remember that 1.2% per year is not, by all means, it's not a mean achievement, because it is higher, much higher than what was achieved in all the three earlier industrial revolutions. But more strikingly, I explained that in absolute terms. In absolute terms, it was estimated in 2018 that artificial intelligence alone can add to the global GDP $1 trillion. $1 trillion per year. So between 2018 and 2030, it would add 13 trillion US dollars. Now, how large is 13 trillion US dollars? In 2017, if you combine the GDP of Germany, UK, and India in 2017, that comes to less than 13 trillion US dollars. So that will show you the potential of artificial intelligence alone. In addition to promoting productivity and economic growth, the new age technology can also harness human development and contribute to social justice in many different ways. For example, in the field of education, it can promote all the four E's, the so-called expansion, excellence, equity, and enterprise. It can also improve teachers' productivity. In healthcare, it can do wonders in terms of, and is doing wonders in terms of telemedicine and bio implants. And then there is also a very big role to play in crisis response. For example, in the kind of uh, disaster that we had yesterday, Biparjoy cyclone, it could be human disaster or natural disaster, but in terms of locating its precisely, search and rescue missions, and the disease control in the aftermath, all that is greatly assisted by the newest technology. In fact, I happen to think that the newest technology can facilitate tackling issues relating to all the 17 so-called sustainable development goals. Those of you who are not aware about the 17 sustainable goals given by the United Nations, I'll just quickly tell some of them. No poverty, zero hunger, good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, clean water and sanitation, affordable and clean energy, decent work and economic growth, industry, innovation and infrastructure, reduced inequality, sustainable cities and communities, responsible consumption and production, climate action, and so on. So, there is no doubt whatsoever that the new age technology promotes economic growth, and with suitable public policies, it can enhance social justice as well. On the other hand, there are serious concerns about the new age technologies, particularly about the technology led job displacement or joblessness. Now, that's a big concern, growth without jobs. Jobless growth, that has become a common phrase being used. And there are two diagonally opposite views there. On the one hand, there are optimists, and one of them is sitting next to me, who calls himself a dangerous optimist. They agree that technology may be disruptive to jobs in the short run, but they insist that there is no permanent negative impact on jobs. In fact, Dr. Mashelkar, in one of his interviews, had said that in the 250 years after the first industrial revolution, there were many occasions where massive job losses took place. But where are you now? More jobs keep on adding, and therefore the net unemployment rate has remained in single digits. But the unemployment rate in single digit for a country of size of India can be enormous. But then the point is that new jobs are also created, and therefore it is not one-sided. So it is a positive view. But then there are others who are not so optimistic about the creation of jobs. There was a very influential study in 2013, uh, Oxford Martin School study, and they came out with a very smashing, damaging conclusion. They said that 69% of the jobs in India and 77% jobs in China, they are at the risk of automation. Later on, they withdrew the statement or diluted it, but the point remains. Uh, even after they backed out, the line of argument remains. The optimists point out, and this is very important, that while destroying a range of jobs, the new technology will also create new jobs. And there are at least two ways in which new jobs can be created. One, new jobs for new technology, because for maintenance, for assisting others in using the new technology, there would be jobs would have to be created. Then there are new jobs which are creative destruction of conventional jobs. And Dr. Mashelkar and others have given example of Uber. You know, with the automatic cars, driverless cars coming in, the demand for drivers is going down. But through a place like agency like Uber, it has created a new market, which is app-based market, offers services of drivers, and that has actually increased the demand for drivers. So conventional jobs can go, but non-conventional jobs can come in a big way. The next point is the issue of whether the new age technology can aggravate the income distribution, income inequality, or it would reduce the income inequality. The new age technology can affect income inequality in a multiple and often contradictory ways. There are certain ways in which it can actually reduce inequalities, and then there are some other ways in which it can actually enhance the income inequalities. Why? Because in the new age technology, there would be, for example, take the case of why new age technology can aggravate the income inequality. Uh, with the new age technology, there would be a big demand for high skilled jobs. An acquisition of high skill and technical jobs may be affordable only for the rich. And therefore, there would be a larger wage would be driven between the haves and have nots, thereby creating greater income inequality. On the other hand, the new age technologies could be potentially be more inclusive in the sense that it can bring in those individuals which were earlier excluded from the marketplace. It could bring them in to participate in the production and distribution process. Zomato, Swiggy, delivery personnel is just one example. There can be dozens of examples that can be given. The net impact of the new age technology on inequality is essentially ambiguous because it is not clear a priori it is not clear whether the inequality reducing forces are going to outweigh the inequality widening forces. So the net result is not known a priori, but there are two things which are definitely known. One, the larger the digital divide between rural and urban areas, the larger the divide between men and digital divide between men and women. Both of these factors are very strong and dominant in our country. Those things are changing. The larger the digital divide between the rural and urban population and between men and women, inequality widening forces are going to dominate, and therefore the net result would be widening the inequalities. It is in this sense that the digital divide is certainly a major obstacle in reaping fuller benefits of the new age technology. And second statement, which is definitively, while the net conclusion was ambiguous, there are two definitive inferences that can be drawn. The first one was this one about the larger the digital divide, the greater is the inequality widening forces, probability of them dominating. Second one, where educational skill development levels of the labor force are high, where education and skills ecosystem is continually being reviewed, revised, and updated, where adaptability of labor and enterprises to the changing market conditions is high, one can certainly say that the new age technology would be inequality reducing. That gives us some pointers towards what do we need to do to the manner in which we should embrace technology for economic welfare as well as for promoting social justice. I'm going to stop here. Thank you very much.